Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes is slowly silencing the haters one by one as they go down to UCF, down in the bounce house, and put together an impressive victory. Now, you know the critics are heavy on Deion Sanders, but he's silencing them one by one. But before we get off into today's podcast, tell a friend to tell a friend. Well, Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes are off to an impressive start at 4-1. Now, you know the critics been heavy on Deion Sanders in the past. Now, you know his first year with Colorado, he got off to a 3-0 start, and he was telling, you know, the media and all the people that was hating on him and didn't think he had a shot, you know, in college football as a head coach at Colorado. They was talking about he was just selling wolf tickets and things like that. And he got off to a 3-0 start, man. And you know what Deion is, man. He goes to these post-game press conferences and tells people, oh, you don't believe, now you're a believer. We keep receipts and things like that. And the media, you know, really comes, you know, hard on Deion, talking about, you know, he's running a circus show out there in Colorado. He got rappers in the locker room. He got all the celebrities and entrepreneurs on the sidelines. You know, when Deion went to Colorado his first year, it was a national spectacle. I mean, it was exciting times in Colorado. You know, he's bringing, you know, revenue to the city of Boulder, and all the games were sold out. And that was the Deion Sanders prime effect. And then after that, the train kind of got derailed and went off track, and the hype was wore down. But in the offseason, you know, Colorado, they retooled. They got some big guys up front, like I always say, the big fish in Jordan Seaton. I mean, he's doing tremendously well on that offensive line. You know, he vowed to keep Shedeur Sanders upright. Now, Shedeur Sanders in the first, you know, 5 games of the season, he's taken a lot of hits, but he ain't been sacked that much. He's taking hits. I mean, he's still the most hit quarterback in FBS, but at the same time, you know, he's getting the job done. You know, he's staying upright. He's taking hits. But he's still, you know, making plays in that offensive line with the 5 new, you know, starting offensive front. You know, Shedeur is still, you know, doing his thing. Now, you know, they started off the season in great fashion. You know, they are doing some great things, man. And Deion Sanders is, you know, basically silencing these haters, you know, one by one. You know, first game of the season, you know, when they started off the season, you know, they played, you know, North Dakota State, and they won 31-26. Followed up, they went to Nebraska. You know, Nebraska beat them 28-10. But then they followed up, you know, with an impressive overtime win at Baylor, you know, playing Baylor 38-31. And now they go down into the bounce house, down to UCF, where UCF was, you know, 3-0. And they went down there with the big quarterback and KJ Jefferson, and they put together a complete football game on both sides of the field, offense and defense. Now, Warren Sapp got that defensive line and them edge rushers, man, doing some things. They had pressure on the quarterback. They made it difficult on, you know, KJ Jefferson. Now, UCF, they run the ball tremendously well, and they held that running game in check. Now, they did give up a big play on a wheel route to the running back after, you know, Colorado marched down and scored. But what is impressive is, you know, they put together a complete football game. Now, they ran the ball tremendously well. Now, you know, you guys know that Colorado's run game is not that great, but they made an emphasis to stick with the run. You know, this time, Shedeur Sanders only passed, you know, 35 passing attempts, man. He was 28 for 35 for 290 yards, 3 TDs. He had 1 interception. You know, that first drive started off bad. He threw that pick, but they settled down and got into the groove. Now, Isaiah He had 4 carries, 39 yards. He was averaging 9.8 yards a carry. Now, Dylan Hayden, 11 carries, 33 yards, 3.0 yards, per carry. And he had a touchdown. Now, Michael Welch, he ran the ball hard, 5 carries, 26 yards, 5.2 average, 1 TD. Then Shador, he had 5 carries, 15 yards. Charlie Arfidal came in when the game was over. He had 3 carries, 11 yards. And Dre'Yon Miller, on one reverse had 1 carry for 4 yards. But that passing game, man, you got to tip your cap to Will Shepherd. He had 4 receptions, 99 yards, 24.8 yards per reception. Had that great spectacular catch from Shador for a touchdown. Travis Hunter still doing Travis Hunter things, 9 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown. Jimmy Horn, 5 catches, 41 yards, 8 yards a catch. But LaJohntay Wester, man, he's a pinball. He's sneaky quick. He had 3 catches, 34 yards, and a touchdown. Now, defensively, man, you got to give it off. You got to take your hat off to the defensive side of the ball, man. Akil Hill-Green, man, he had that sack. But what Cameron Silman-Craig did with that fumble recovery and went like 89 yards for a touchdown. Travis Hunter, spectacular interception. Now, them guys, Preston Hodge, man, that crucial pick in the back of the end zone, doing his thing, man. But Anquan Barnes and all them guys up front, Dylan Hayden, and them guys, BJ Green, man, BJ Green, he's an impact. But why I'm saying this is because everybody doubted Colorado. Everybody didn't give Colorado a chance. Everybody was downplaying it, saying that they're going to be in the same situation as they was last year. I've been on record to say, this Colorado team, I'm projecting them to win, 7 to 8 games this year and be bowl eligible. And, Paul Findbaum has been highly critical of Deion Sanders. Been on record to say that they're not a well-coached team. Deion selling wolf tickets, just downplaying everything Deion's doing. Talking about Deion always wants to give to the media, crying wolf, and talking about the players and things like that. And Deion fired back and said, when a fan only blows when you're hot. Talking to Paul Findbaum. And Paul Findbaum, man, he's just been come out saying some ridiculous takes. Now, Paul Findbaum has been eating crow. Paul Findbaum has been humbled. Now, let's take a listen to what now Paul Findbaum is saying after Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes go down to the bounce house at UCF and come out with a great game where they put it on UCF 48-21. So let's take a listen to what Paul Findbaum had to say.
Fine. They went on the road to the bounce house against a really good offense. Gus Malzahn, KJ Jefferson, and the Knights. Paul, they're 4-1 and at the top of the Big 12 standings.
And of all the schools that impressed me the most on Saturday, it was Colorado. They went someplace I thought would be incredibly difficult. And they won. They won just in dominating fashion. And I don't need to add to the Travis Hunter situation, but as someone who has been very critical of Deion Sanders, I have to say what he has managed this team quite well, in spite of all the bullets and all the attacks and all the criticism. Some of it coming from me, and I give him enormous credit. I don't think very many people thought this was possible, other than maybe a group of sycophants out there in Boulder. But they're back to being a legitimate story for the first time. Last year, it wasn't legitimate. It was
there. You go.
Early on this season, it was drive-by. But Colorado is a legitimate factor right now in college football, and there's no denying it.
Let me put it this way, because you and I have said the same thing. Like, if Coach Prime would just focus on building a program instead of building a brand, maybe they'll get somewhere. I think he started to do that. Is it now more important for him than ever to say less? Because you're turning a lot of people's opinions, yours, mine. Some of the national media is going to be like, wow, wait a second, they might be in contention for the Big 12. You don't want to saturate that with peak Coach Prime, you almost just want to lay back with that a little bit and just let people start coming to you instead of you going to them.
Yeah, I mean, we no matter what we say one week, I feel we look at things objectively, and we're both saying the same thing. I mean, I sat there late yesterday in admiration of what they were doing because it was so dominating. It was a master class, and he takes away from that when he does the things that he does. So let the work speak for itself. And I think everyone in college football who knows anything, who's not just barking from trees, understands now finally what this program is right at the moment and can be. And I think it's incredibly.
Now, you heard what Paul Findbaum had to say, man. And then at the end, he took a subtle shot at Deion, talking about, Deion gets in the way of the players' actions and what they're doing and trying to make it all about him. So he's taking a silent shot. And Deion Sanders Jr. came out and said, even though Paul Findbaum gave them credit, he still took a subtle jab at the program and Deion Sanders, because they all saying that Deion Sanders wants to make it about himself, marketing and things like that, never really putting it all about the team. So you heard what Paul Findbaum had to say. Slowly eating crow. Deion is changing the narrative, and I'm glad that Colorado is off to this hot start, and hopefully they can keep it up. They're on the bye week, and Travis Hunter doing spectacular things, man. Had a Heisman moment in that game, but at the same time, Paul Findbaum finally came to his senses, starting to give Colorado and Deion Sanders some credit. So you guys, let me know what y'all think about today's podcast. Leave your comments below. And before you go out the door, do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We'll catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.